Good morning from Lille and a warm welcome to all of you to today's webinar. This webinar is part of the Lead Applicant series that is organized in the context of the third call for proposals and is dedicated to project development. We started with this webinar series on Monday by discussing how to build a successful partnership. We then addressed the project methodology yesterday. Tomorrow we will be closing by having a look at the project communication, but today it's all about finances. I am Vincenzo, I'm a finance officer, and I will be your host today, guiding you through today's agenda. If you're wondering how the agenda looks like, we will be showing it in a minute on screen. So yeah, you should be seeing it now on the screen. And we will be watching together some videos which will provide you some detailed information and guidance on how to build a successful project budget on the different cost categories, and we will finally zoom in with the last video on external expertise and services. But no worries, we are not here just to watch videos together. This is not a cozy Saturday night at home. We will also be taking some time in order to answer your questions live. So after each video, there will be a question and answer session. So I think it's high time now also for me to introduce to you and reveal who will be answering your questions live. He's a senior finance officer at the Joint Secretariat. It's been around for a while, so probably you have already guessed by now, and it turned on the camera. So yeah, warm welcome to Alexis Francois. Good morning, Alexis. How are you doing?
Good morning. Hi.
I hope you are excited to be here in this event. I can see that there are many participants joining. So we will be answering their question and supporting them to clarify any doubt in order to build a successful project budget in their project proposal. Okay, so you will see Alexis and myself on screen, but we are not alone. Behind the scenes, actually, there is Ilaria who will be helping us with moderating the Slido and answering your question also in writing on Slido. And behind the scenes, there is also the communication colleagues who will help us running this webinar with all the different tools that we are using. So this leads me also to give you some information about the tools that we are using. We are streaming this live on Zoom, and you can use the Zoom chat in order to say hello and tell us where you're from, or also if there is any technical issues with the video or audio, you can drop a comment there. And keep an eye on the Zoom chat, because this is also where our communication colleagues will give you some links, will share some links to the different resources connected to the topic we are addressing, that are addressed in the video, and that we'll be addressing during our answers. So keep an eye on the Zoom chat. But if you want to ask questions, if you want your questions to be answered live, then you have to use Slido. And in order to use Slido, you have to go either on slido.com/project development. So you can open a new tab in your browser and type this web address, or you can scan the QR code. So maybe we can give you a couple of seconds in order to take your phone and scan the QR code. Or yeah, if you prefer, you can still use this. You can still do this by using your browser and opening a new tab. We will try to answer all the questions live, but in case we are flooded with questions, do not worry, because and stay connected to Slido for a little longer, because in case there is some question unanswered during the live streaming of this webinar, we will keep on answering questions on Slido. And now that you have an idea what we will be up to until 11:30, because this webinar will last approximately 1 hour and a half. And now that we told you also how to submit your questions, I think we can move on already to the first video. And yeah, where our colleague Ramona, our former colleague Ramona, will tell you more about how to build a successful budget and some general principle about that. So see you soon. We will be back with the first question and answer right after the video, and let's watch it together.
Hello, my name is Ramona. In the following minutes, I will give you general information to help you prepare the budget of your project. If you got this far, then I assume you already have identified your project idea and the partners that you will work with to take on your common challenge. Now, the activities that you jointly define should be the foundation that you build your budget on. On a general level, you should know that an Interreg Europe project usually receives co-financing of 1 up to 2 million euros. This budget correlates with the dimension of the partnership, the duration of the project, and the activities and responsibilities allocated to each of the partners. Ideally, they should all have a say in the preparatory stage of the project, so make sure to involve them ever since the beginning. There are several types of partners that will participate to your project. They will have individually allocated budget based on their roles. These are aspects that will influence the budget. It is no surprise that among the project partners, the lead partner, the appointed lead partner, usually has the largest share of the budget. This is mainly due to the fact that it also has to coordinate and ensure the overall project management. An advisory partner will not address any policy instrument. However, it is most probably that they will perform cross-cutting tasks. These tasks reflect their expertise and interest in the policy field. This means that they also will have individually allocated budget. So this type of partner will also have allocated budget correlated to this special role. In cases where more partners address the same policy instrument, savings are expected at partner level because responsibilities in relation to the policy instrument are shared. Depending on the legal status of the EU project partner, the co-financing rate disbursed by the Interreg Europe program is of 80% for the public bodies and the bodies governed by public law and 70% for the private non-profit bodies. Interreg Europe program is open to potential partners from Norway and Switzerland as well. They are not eligible to receive ERDF funding, but their national authorities pre-allocated funds to support their direct participation in our program. Norwegian partners may receive co-funding of up to 50% of their budget. Swiss partners need to contact their national point of contact in order to get detailed information about the Swiss funding opportunities. The remaining 30 or 20% must be provided by the partners themselves, either from their own budget or from other sources that can be either public or private. In any case, a partner declaration is required in order to demonstrate their commitment to provide their own contribution. A project's budget is organized following 6 cost categories. A successful application will receive an additional lump sum to cover the preparation costs. The cost categories are the subject of a specifically video design, so I will not get into details here. However, I will spoil the surprise my colleague has for you. We fully embraced the simplification efforts, and office and administration and travel accommodation cost categories will be reported on flat rates of 15% applied to the staff cost category. As in the previous program, there is no request to further distribute the budget on components or work packages. There is also no possibility to report share cost on activities among the project partners. Only the contracting partner will budget, actually pay, and report 100% of the expenditure of joint benefit. A new feature of our program that stems from the new regulation is that VAT is eligible irrespective if it is or not deductible for the partner organization. Even if a lot has changed for the better or for the simpler, we still have costs that we will not accept and you should not include in your budget. We specifically refer to in-kind contributions. So, the provision of works, goods, services, land or real estate for which no cash payment has been made, such as unpaid voluntary work, are not eligible. I believe that we can all agree that staff costs of personnel working in one of the partner institutions are not unpaid work. So this expenditure is safe and belongs to the staff cost category. Our communication team will support the projects in this programming period as well. You will not need to plan budget for the project website, the project's main visuals, or the design of the poster. Your communication strategy or plan should not include also gifts or giveaways, prizes or awards, as they are not eligible in the Interreg Europe program. Your financial reports will be verified by independent controllers. For some of the partners, the national authorities will provide these services for free, but in other countries, the project partners will have to pay for the verification of expenditure. This cost item is eligible and should be included in your budget. Country-specific information is available on our website, so make sure to check it. Your spending plan depends on the activity plans in the application form. If an activity is carried out close to the end of the reporting period, the related payment may only be possible in the next semester. The costs should therefore be budgeted in the following reporting period. The project spending plan is important because the monitoring activity, our monitoring activity, is based on it throughout the project implementation. You should plan carefully your spending plan in the application form because if you fail to comply with it, then the budget may be decommitted and you may lose part of the funding. Most often, we see that spending of projects starts slowly and increase over the semesters. Now you have the general framework to help you prepare the budget of your project. Thank you for watching. I do hope that you found this information both useful and helpful. Good luck with your proposal.
And welcome back in the studio after watching this first video where Ramona told us more, gave us some general principle on how to build a successful project budget, told us also about what is the average Interreg funds for an Interreg Europe project budget, told us something about the co-financing rates. So hopefully like this first video was already a good inspiration for you, and it was also providing like some answers. But like if you have any questions or doubts, do not hesitate to share it on Slido. So we've just shown actually the QR code and the Slido address in order to ask your questions. We will wait maybe a couple of seconds to give you some time to type your questions, but maybe some of you are still typing or you need a little encouragement in order to start warming up. So maybe, Alexi, what do you think? We can address one topic that is really hot right now. Has been very trendy. We've been discussing this also in the last days in the previous webinars. I'm talking about the program enlargement to the EU candidate countries and about the role of discovery partner. It has been explained already in the previous webinars. So maybe what we can do today is to provide some more information about the budget for those discovery partners. And do discovery partners have a budget, and this budget anything special in comparison with the other ones?
Thanks a lot, Vincenzo, for this question. Just a reminder before I'm really talking about their budget, because this video that you just saw was prepared before we had the chance to work with these 7 new countries. So even if it was on the slide, just to remind you that also the co-financing rates for the 7 new countries will be the same as for the other regular partners, let's say like partners from countries that were already involved in the program. So 80% for public institutions and bodies governed by public law, and 70% for private non-profit institutions. Now, talking about the budget of these new status, these discovery partners, let's say that, I mean, to give you a general piece of advice that was also shared by Ramona, the budget of any partner should be based on like the activities planned in the work plan, on the task and responsibilities of the partners, and the resources needed to achieve these objectives and the tasks, and of course the level of cost in each country. Now, to be a bit more precise about discovery partners, as they will be here mainly to really learn and really discover like the program, the spirit of the program, and be involved like in a lighter way, maybe we can tell you that we would expect like maybe less important budget for these partners. For instance, they will not address a policy instrument. So this is something to take into consideration because it can be like an important part of the budget when you have to handle a stakeholder meeting, stakeholder group. You have to involve them and work like at local level. So this will not be the case for discovery partners. Maybe you won't, as discovery partner, host an interregional event. So these are all the elements to be taken into consideration when building your budget.
Thanks a lot for answering these questions and giving us some principle on how to plan a budget for a discovery partner. Yes, consistency between the activities and the budgets is probably something that we say quite often, and yet it's not enough. It's really the starting point to plan a successful budget. So thanks a lot, Alexi, for this answer. And while you were answering these first questions, some more questions from the participants were coming up. So I can see that Catherine is asking, what is a realistic lead partner budget and time estimation to coordinate the budget related to the staff cost? one full-time employee for 4 years?
Okay, so again, I think it's important to remind everybody that the lead partner usually they have the largest budget because of their like overall coordination role. They can also take on like additional cross-cutting tasks. So this should be reflected in the budget of the lead partner. We cannot give you a specific figure because again, it depends on many elements. But again, like general piece of advice, start from the activities, what you have to do, the overall responsibilities and tasks, and then build your budget around these responsibilities and tasks.
Okay, thanks a lot. I think there is another question that is pretty similar to this one, so maybe we skip it for the moment and we go back to it later. And we go to this question. The video mentions that it is not possible to report shared cost and should be reported by the contracting partner. Is it possible for the partnership to have a shared cost agreement laid in the partnership agreement?
Well, in general, it's also a good opportunity for me to insist on that point that we don't have shared cost in the program. So whenever you have a task to achieve, it has to be taken like on by one partner. If they don't have the resources to do it, then they can also externalize this task for the benefit of the whole partnership. And then if, for instance, you are thinking about two partners coming from the same region, then we would encourage you not to share costs, but to share activities, meaning that if you organize, I don't know, like an interregional event, one of the two partners would like take care of the catering cost, and the other one could take care of the venue translation cost. So we would rather encourage you to do like this, because yes, I remind you that sharing cost is not possible. It's contracting partner principle only. So contracting, reporting the full cost, receiving the RDF. I mean the Interreg funding.
Okay, thanks a lot, Alexi. Yeah, Interreg funds. I think like, yeah, this is probably also a good moment, like also to kindly ask you maybe like to rename yourself, because like, yeah, so like we can actually address your questions better and yeah, get back to you more easily. So you can actually do this on Slido. If you see, I think on the top right corner on the Slido screen, like you should be able to rename yourself so that we can actually better read your question. And I see actually that right after I said this, there is Josephine from the city of Magdeburg who is asking, what would an ideal lead partner project team look like? What are the roles? So this is more about like, yeah, the internal management and internal organization of the lead partner. So maybe we can say a few words about that, Alexi.
Yes, I mean, usually like we are always in contact with the coordinator, like on a daily basis, let's say when there is an issue or a doubt or questions from partners, and the lead partner, like they need assistance on that. Usually behind also you have the financial manager taking care of the reporting, financial, legal questions. If the lead partner is taking care of the communication, there is also a communication manager involved. So again, it really depends on the responsibilities of the lead partner within the project, because communication sometimes is like taken care of by another partner. But then, yes, usually it's a team of a few people dealing with the different tasks and different daily tasks and objectives of the project.
All right, Alexei. I think we have answered already like a good deal of questions. Maybe we can take another one before going to the next videos. Maybe we can take this one since it was already there before. Is there any example? Are there any example budgets to look at?
I would say that if your institution was already involved in past projects, you can always have a look and see within your team if you still have the data. Otherwise, you can also contact, I think, your national contact point to have information, general information. But we usually don't provide such information, as again, each budget is unique and depends on the size of the partnership, the activities planned, the origin of the partners, many elements. So we avoid like giving like general figures.
Exactly. So as we said earlier, also the budget depends on the activities. So plan carefully all of the activities, then plan the resources. And then once you have the resources, like you can see how much cost those resources will need. And then you will be able to plan your budget. So this is the general approach and the general principles. So thanks a lot, Alexi. For all of those who are connecting right now, because I can see that the number of participants is still rising a bit every now and then, you have just missed the previous video and maybe also this question and answer session. If this is so, no worries, because like the video that we are showing today, they are already available online. They are pre-recorded, so you can already consult them on our YouTube channel and through our website. And this webinar is being recorded and will be available after a little editing after we close today. So no worries if you are joining just now, you will be able to catch up with this webinar and get back to it later if you have any doubt or uncertainties while you are preparing your project proposal. But I will propose now maybe we move on to the next video where Ségolène, our colleague Ségolène, will tell us more about some cost categories, more specifically the preparation cost lump sum, the staff cost, and the two flat rates, office and administrative cost, and travel and accommodation. Let's watch the video together and see you later.
Hello everyone, my name is Ségolène and I'm going to talk about the different cost categories available in your budget. So if you want to know more, you can have a look at our program manual, section 6.1, 6.2 and 6.3. So there are 6 different cost categories in addition to the lump sum of preparation cost in Interreg Europe budget. In this first video, I will talk about preparation cost, staff cost, office and administrative expenditure, and travel and accommodation. So let's get started with preparation costs. Preparation costs are all the costs that you need to prepare your application form, and it will be directly included in the lead partner's budget. It is a lump sum of 17,500 euros per project. This means that would be 14,000 euros in case the lead partner is from an EU member state, and then it will be 8,750 euros if the lead partner is from Norway. But then you might wonder, what should you do and how will you get the lump sum? Well, it is easy. The lump sum will be received only for approved projects. Then it will be directly included in the lead partner's budget, and it has to be shared among the partnership depending on the involvement of each partner during the preparation of the application form. You can see that there will be only a budget for this cost category in the lead partner's budget. You should also have in mind that no supporting document will be needed when reporting. Now, next cost category is staff costs. So staff costs usually represent the largest share of the budget, and indeed, because project partners are usually the main beneficiaries of the project. So it refers to the gross employment costs and only for staff members employed by the partner institution and directly working on the project. In order to plan your staff cost budget, you should have in mind the following question. So, which project activities will be carried out and how many employees will be needed to carry them out? Then, which percentage of their time will they need to dedicate to the project activities? And what is their monthly gross employment cost? You should also have in mind the project duration, which is 4 years for all, and with the 3 months closure. So then for the calculation of staff cost, there will be only one possible method. It will be with fixed percentage. So this means that the project employee could either be working at 100% at full time, or it can also be working at part-time, but with a fixed percentage. Let's take an example. So in practice, a partner organization could decide to have 2 employees working on the project. And we'll say that each employee has a gross employment cost of 3,500 euros. So if the first employee will be working at 60% on the project, then the gross employment cost would be 2,100 euros per month. Then if the second employee will be working at only 30% on the project, the gross employment cost will be reduced as we multiply per 30% and we get 1,050 euros per month. So that would mean for this partner a monthly staff cost budget of 3,150 euros. Then you can multiply it by 48 months to get the total project duration. And we have a staff cost budget of 151,200 euros. Now, next cost category is office and administrative expenditure. For this cost category, it concerns all the general administrative expenses of the partner organization. So it can be for office rents or stationery or postal services, for example. But you can find a list of all the detailed costs within this cost category in the program manual. So these costs are covered by a flat rate of 15% of staff costs, and they are directly calculated in the application form, so automatically. So what you need to make sure is not to plan any cost in this cost category within another cost category. So now, to finish for this first video, we'll talk about travel and accommodation. This cost category includes costs such as travel, accommodation, of course, but it can also be for meals or daily allowances or visas. And it is only for travel and accommodation of the staff members. So the travel and accommodation costs for associated policy authorities or stakeholders should be planned under external expertise and services. As you might have noticed, there is a change for the travel and accommodation cost comparison with the previous programming period. So indeed, now travel and accommodation costs can be covered by a 15% flat rate of staff cost. However, some partners can also decide in the application form to choose the real cost basis, but they will have to provide a duly justified reasons and explanation. So, in practice, in the application form, all the partner will have to choose between the flat rate and the real cost basis. And if partner chooses real cost basis, they will have to explain, because the flat rate is the option recommended by the program. On our side, we expect that almost all partners will go for the flat rates, and only for specific geographical situations, such as the outermost regions, that real cost basis would be chosen. Why should you go for the flat rates? First of all, the 15% flat rate is in the regulation. Then, the program also carried out statistical analysis on the real travel and accommodation costs reported by the partner from the previous projects, to see whether a 15% flat rate would be enough to cover the travel and accommodation costs. And indeed, this statistical analysis showed that a 15% flat rate would be enough for almost all partners. Then it is also simpler. This is a real simplification. So when you will be preparing your application form, you won't have to estimate the travel and accommodation cost, as they will be automatically calculated. And then when reporting, it will be also less time on the control, and no supporting documents will need to be provided. So that's why, with all these advantages, we expect almost all partners to go for the flat rates. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we invite you to watch a second video to learn more about the remaining cost categories.
And welcome back in the studio. That was a very informative video introducing us to some cost categories: the preparation cost lump sum, the staff cost, and the two flat rates: travel and accommodation, and office and administrative cost. We can see that this video was very inspiring for you, was encouraging you to submit some questions for us. I think there is a first question about that we might address very quickly, about the average audit cost per country. The first suggestion, in order to know which cost you have to plan for audit and control, would be to go in the country-specific section on our website, because, for example, if in your country there is a centralized system, then most likely the cost for the control will be indicated inside this country section on our website. If it is a decentralized country, if it is a country where there is a decentralized control system, then there might be a short list, or there might be some other procedure in order to identify your controller. But what is important is that basically you find all the information about the control cost on the country-specific page on our website, and you can also contact your national contact point or the control body in order to have some more information about this. And then, of course, in case it's a decentralized control system, then you will simply have to go to the market and make a market research to find out what is the cost for such services, and always consider the value for money. I don't know if Alexi, you want to add anything on this? Otherwise, we can move on to another question that is also related to control, because Catherine is asking, we need to foresee 8 times control cost. Is there no final control, so 9?
That's correct, Catherine. You need to foresee 8 times control cost, 6 for the core phase and 2 for the follow-up phase.
Thanks a lot. Very straightforward answer for a straightforward question. Then we have a question that is related to the topic we have just addressed with Ségolène in the video, staff cost. So Heidi is asking, how do staff cost, employee cost need to be declared and proven? I think Heidi is also looking already forward to the reporting of the cost, but maybe we can address this more from from also a budget planning point of view.
From the video that you've seen right before with Ségolène explaining like the staff cost, you have to take into consideration that the method is the fixed percentage. So you have to estimate what will be the workload of the different employees over the semesters. And based on that, once you have an idea of the percentage, you have to fill in a task assignment letter where you would like explain the tasks to be performed by the employee with the percentage of her time over a month to be spent on the project. And then based on that, you would ask your superior to sign it, and that would be more or less like the basis for having your staff cost, meaning that then you would take this percentage and your gross employment cost, and you would calculate the staff cost like this. So there is no need anymore for timesheets. That's mainly about this task assignment letter to prove the time spent on the project and your gross employment cost. And of course, then documents identifying the gross employment cost, such as pay slips, and then proof of payment between the employer and yourself. And then everything will be declared in the monitoring system of the program in the portal. I don't know if you need more elements on staff costs, don't hesitate to ask a follow-up question if needed.
Thanks a lot, Alexi. And I think then there is a couple of questions related, actually more than a couple of questions related to the travel and accommodation flat rate. The first one is from Piriorita, who is asking, you can apply for either a 15% flat rate for travel, but if you want to apply separately for travel cost, what are the criteria for getting a budget for them? I guess Piriorita is probably asking whether there is another option of planning and reporting on real cost basis. Probably, I think this is the meaning of this question.
Okay, so for this one, the program really highly recommends you to go for the flat rate. Because so far, I think that around 98% of the partners went for this option during the first 2 calls. We also decided to adopt it after statistical analysis, which proved that for a vast majority of partners, this flat rate fits their reality when they used to have real cost. It's way easier to go for the flat rate because you don't have to provide any supporting documents anymore. So no single tickets, metro tickets, receipt, everything that you might be afraid to lose. So we really highly recommend you to go for that option. There is still, let's say, a side option to go for real cost, but it's not at all designed for the majority. It's really for outermost regions or really remote regions. So again, go for the flat rate. You won't be disappointed.
Thanks a lot for this answer, Alexi. I think this also partially answered the question of Rosemary, but we may read it and if you want to add anything else, otherwise we pass to the next one. So let's read first one. This one is for Rosemary, and then it's nice because I think Daniel then asked a question about the opposite case. So Rosemary is actually worrying, I think, if there is a very low cost on travel and accommodation. So she's asking, what happens if one choose option 1 for travel cost and do not have travel cost or very low cost? Do travel have to be proved?
That's a very good point, because like Interreg Europe is all about exchange of experience. So it's all about also traveling to one region to another to discover good practices from abroad. So this is also one point that we will closely follow up on, like in the progress reports, to see if everybody is involved, everybody is traveling. So this is mainly through the travels that we will see that the money, let's say, like is justified, because we need to see that you're traveling, that you're exchanging. Otherwise, if you're going for the flat rate, there is no like supporting document as such, as I was telling you. We will mainly, again, see and make sure that you travel to the project events.
Thanks a lot. And I think actually this point was addressed also yesterday in the webinar by Hassan, who was actually asked whether there can be only online activities. And he was also explaining like, yeah, that interregional cooperation is also about visiting each other. So even though the pandemic taught us to organize interregional learning activities online, there is still a big added value in visiting each other. So travel will happen, and like then, yeah, basically like, yeah, the travel and accommodation flat rate will have a purpose to allow you to visit all the other regions in your partnership. Then we have the opposite case, Alexi, because Daniel is asking what happens if the 15% travel, if the 15% for travel cost is not enough, if the costs get higher?
Well, again, I can only repeat what I've been saying in the previous question. Like, based on the statistical analysis, really like the 15% flat rate fits for like the vast majority of partners we had in the past. So again, if 15% is not enough because you come from, I don't know, a very remote region, or again, outermost region, then you might consider the real cost option. But otherwise, I think it would normally fit the reality of most partners in Europe.
Okay, thanks a lot. I think maybe we have a few questions that are still related to the staff cost category, so maybe we can take another one, then we see like, yeah, where we are with the time, and we might move on after this to the next video. Yeah, maybe we try to take a couple of questions more. I see Aina is asking, does a task assignment letter have to be completed and submitted every month?
Well, that's actually not the point, because like task assignment letter we included this option because we see it as a simplification, meaning that the task assignment letter should be valid for as long as possible. The idea for you is really to plan on the long term, saying, okay, I have these tasks over the next, I don't know, 1 year, 2 years, and try to like build on this task to see like how much would be to estimate a percentage, and to see how much you need to put as a percentage in the assignment letter. And then, of course, it can happen that the percentage changes. For instance, if you have new role, new responsibilities following, I don't know, an annual appraisal with your superior, you realize that you're taking on new responsibilities, then of course you can change the task assignment letter. But it doesn't, it should not be counterproductive. You shouldn't need to change the task assignment letter often.
Thanks a lot. And yeah, I think there is like some more questions about the staff. So maybe we can try to take them and take a few minutes more to clarify all doubts about this. There is a question about employing staff under a contract other than employment contract. So yeah, can we employ staff under a contract other than employment contract, for example, natural persons with a professional engagement letter?
We have this case in the regulation for natural persons to have their cost reported under staff cost. And this is very specific. This is a very specific question. So sometimes they don't have a real employment contract, but they have like a similar contract. So for this, usually it's like at national level that the discussion goes to see whether this type of contracts, this type of engagement letter can be considered, can fit the definition of natural person or not.
Thanks a lot. And then I think that there is also an interesting question by Heidi, who is asking what happens if the cost for staffing increase during the progress of the project. In Belgium, we have an automatic index adjustment on wages. So what can we say to Heidi?
Well, Heidi, as the calculation of staff cost is in the end made like based on your actual gross employment cost, this is perfectly fair, and this like indexation would be taken into consideration when reporting your staff cost during the project lifetime.
Yes, and also if I may add something, like do not forget there is the flexibility rule of the program that actually allow you to have some budget flexibility. So if later on during the project implementation you will have to report some more staff cost, you have some margin to deviate from what you have originally budgeted. And there is some videos explaining the flexibility rules, so do not hesitate to go to those resources also to know more and how all of this work. So I think maybe we take one very last question and then we have probably to move on to the next video. So we'll try to catch up with the questions about the first video later on. And I think probably we can take this one by Susanna. Staff cost could be the cost of temporary hired employees hired directly to manage the project.
Yes, staff cost fits like for any cases for like people having like an employment contract or similar contract. So if it's someone working temporarily for your institution, it works as well. Like the difference is made between employment contract and, I don't know, service contract if you are hiring an external expert for specific tasks, because this cost then would go under external expertise. But it's fine for staff cost to have like temporary contracts.
Okay, thanks a lot. That was already a good deal of questions. So in order to keep the time, we will have to move on to the next video, which will give us a more complete overview of the different cost categories. Because once again, Ségolène will be telling us more about the remaining cost categories, so external expertise and services, equipment, and infrastructure and works. So see you later.
Hello, my name is Ségolène. It is the second video on cost categories. In this video, I will talk about the external expertise and services cost category, equipment, and infrastructure and works. So let's begin with external expertise and services. Under this cost category, you should plan all the services that are needed to implement the project activities, but that come out of the partner organization. An important program recommendation to have in mind is that this cost category should not exceed more than 50% of the total budgets, because the main beneficiaries of the project should remain the project partners. Then it is also important that all the costs that you plan are linked to activities planned in the work plan. So in practice, to plan your external expertise and services cost, you will have to go in section F.2 of the application form, and you will have to provide more information. First of all, you will have to indicate who is the contracting partner. Then you will also have to indicate the total amount of the service, and you will have to select among a list of predefined types of costs. If you don't know which type of cost you should select, and if you simply want to know more, then you can have a look at our dedicated video on this topic, which is available on our website. So then in practice, you will have to select a predefined type of cost, and for most of the type of cost, the description box will be pre-filled. Then if the description is editable, please be as precise as possible. So now back to more general advice. So if you have people working on the project but are not directly employed by the partner organization, then the cost should be planned under external expertise and services. We know, for example, that some partners rely on in-house staff members to implement the project activities. For these, there are two possibilities. So if the staff are working from an affiliated company who is a complete different legal entity than the partner organization, then the cost should be planned under external expertise and services. However, if by in-house you refer to staff working in an internal department of the partner organization, and that there is no separation of legal entity, then the cost should be planned under staff cost. Let's move to the next cost category, which is equipment. So it is mainly equipment costs for office equipment. So it can be bought, rented, or leased. It can be, for example, a laptop for a partner or some software to organize online meetings. So for the equipment cost, it should not exceed 7,000 euros per project if there is no pilot action. However, if there is a pilot action, then we understand that there can be some more specific equipment needed and the total cost can be higher. In practice, to plan your equipment cost, you will have to go in section F.3 of the application form and you will have to provide more information. So you will have to indicate who is the contracting partner and the total amount of the cost. And you will also have to select in a drop-down menu what is the type of equipment. So it can either be office equipment or pilot action. In case this is office equipment, the description box will be pre-filled, so there's no need to indicate anything else. However, if it is pilot action equipment, the description box will have to be filled with more precise information, so on the equipment needed and on the link with the pilot action activities. So now let's talk about the last cost category, which is infrastructure and works. This is a new cost category for Interreg Europe, and it can be used only when you have a pilot action planned. Based on the experience from our projects who had pilot actions, the pilot action costs could be covered by the equipment or the external expertise and services cost categories. So we expect project partners to use this cost category rather exceptionally, and it can be, for example, to finance some labor costs or materials for some small-scale infrastructures linked to the pilot activities. So you will have to provide more details in the application form. You will have to indicate who is the contracting partner and also indicate the total amount of the cost. Then in the description box, you should explain what are the materials or the labor, for example, the labor works needed for the pilot action. You should also clearly explain what is the link with the pilot activities. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we invite you also to have a look at our program manual to learn more.
And welcome back in the studio. For all of those who are connecting right now, this is a webinar that is part of the lead applicant webinar series organized for the third call of proposals for Interreg Europe. And today we're talking finances. This webinar is being recorded, so if you missed the previous parts, do not worry, because this will be online. And after watching this video, we're back in the studio in order to address your questions live. Actually, some questions have been piling up during the video, so we're glad to see that you were encouraged by the videos and motivated by the videos. And I think there was a question actually that was there for a while, and we can finally answer it because we were waiting, Carolina, for all, and Josephine actually also about the same topic. We're waiting for all the cost categories to be explained by the videos in the videos of Segolen. So this is why we kept it there for a while. So maybe we can address the first question by Carolina, who is asking, they are very similar. Carolina is asking, should the project budget include the cost of pilot activities if at the time of creating the application, we are not sure if and what activities will be implemented in the pilot?
That's a very good question, Carolina. So you will have two opportunities to ask for pilot actions, either at application stage or later after the midterm review. I mean, it would be discussed during the midterm review, but it would start after the midterm review, obviously. So if you are already planning it at application stage and you have a concrete idea on something you'd like to test, then of course the cost for the pilot should be included at application stage. If on the other hand you're not sure that it's about to happen now and you prefer to wait for the midterm review to discuss more concrete ideas on things to test, then the cost should not be included in the budget. They would be included later on if your pilot is approved.
Thanks a lot, Alexi. And I think this also answered the question of Josephine, because Josephine is asking if the pilot action develops during the project, starting from midterm review, do the cost of the pilot action still have to be part of the budget from the start? So yeah, this was answered by Alexi. You can either plan a pilot action from the start, and in that case you have to include and plan all the costs for the pilot action from the start at application stage. But if you plan to include the pilot action later on and at a later stage of the project, then you can actually plan this cost at a later point. So I think both those questions were answered, and we can move on. There is a question that is also related like to the second video we watched about staff cost. Carmen is asking, for public servant already working for a public institution, how do we calculate staff cost? And can you talk a little more about the particularities of the outermost region in relation to the budget?
Okay, so for staff cost, I think we already covered that part, that bit, like in another question. About outermost regions, that would be, I mean, that's also the case I mentioned when talking about travel cost. That would be one of the few exceptions to go for the real cost option instead of the flat rate when reporting travel cost and accommodation. So I think that's the particularity of the outermost regions.
Thanks a lot. And we have another question. Apparently, like the hot topic today is staff cost. We have another one that is about some percentage related to the staff cost. So are the staff costs as a cap? So do the staff costs have a cap of 50% of the overall budget? In that case, does the travel cost, are the travel costs included in the staff cost or are calculated apart, meaning it will be 65% as a total? I think here maybe there is some confusion about the percentage, Alexis, so maybe we can try to clarify this.
Yes, so one of the program recommendations about budget is that staff cost is usually, almost in all cases, I mean, I think in all cases, the largest share of the budget. Why? Because we are a capacity building program, so like exchange of activities has to benefit to the staff of the different partner institutions. So staff cost would always be the largest share of the budget, and more than 50% usually, but again, depends on each individual case. Now, about the flat rate for travel costs, it's a bit different because like all the cost categories, you can see them separately in the budget, meaning that the budget for travel costs would be calculated automatically in a different cost category, in a different like column of your budget. So it would be 15% of the staff cost, and it would be apart. So it's not together. Staff cost and travel costs are not together in one single column of your budget. They are separate.
Thanks a lot. We hope this clarifies. And if this is not the case, then you can get back to us with another question on Slido. I think this is also a good time for me to remind you that all questions have to be submitted on Slido. I can see that the chat is very active, and like thanks a lot for being so actively participating in this webinar today. But if you have any question, connect to the Slido by scanning the QR code or going to slido.com/project development. So if you drop any question in the chat on Zoom, please copy paste it on the Slido session that you can reach through those channels. And then I think that there is another interesting question by Priorita, who is asking, piloting costs can also be included in external cost and no separate budget is needed. Well, here I think we can say that this was addressed also in the video, in the last video where Ségolène was telling us more about the different cost categories and specifically about the external expertise and services cost category. Actually, all costs related to the pilot have to be included in the budget of the project. They will be visible for sure in the external expertise and services cost category because there is a specific type of cost that is related to the pilot. They will be visible also in the equipment cost category because once again, there is a type of cost within the equipment cost category that is related to the pilot. And then there is one cost category that is only available in case you have a pilot action, that is infrastructure and works. So I hope that this addresses the question. Alexei, I don't know if you want to add anything else on that.
Well, I think it's always good to remind indeed that the pilot budget will be included and that it will be for staff cost, not separated, meaning that the cost, like the staff cost for implementing the regular activities and the pilot actions will be together in the budget. But indeed for us, we will be able to identify the costs that you need for the pilot if you plan them under external expertise, under equipment, and under infrastructures, as you will have to create like individual items to explain the needs you have in relation to the pilot. So indeed, that's where we could see the separation between the, let's say, regular activities and pilot activities. Otherwise, I think, Vincenzo, you covered it all.
Thanks a lot. And I think there is a very interesting question. Probably this is the one that I have quickly seen on the Zoom chat. Peter is asking, do we need to specify the expertise, naming the external experts into the application, or just state the area of expertise that we want to involve? I think maybe we can provide even more details on what we would expect when planning the external expertise and services cost category, what we would like to see in the description of the items and so on. So yeah, we can provide some more information to Peter.
Thanks, Peter, for that question. You don't have to name, please don't name any experts directly in the application, as you need to ensure later on, after your project is approved a fair and transparent competition between the different experts on the market. So you just need indeed to explain the type of help, assistance you need, and for which, as you say, specific area of expertise you need someone from outside your organization. So this is mainly how we expect planning to be under external expertise. You will have to create different items depending on the needs, on the type of activities. And for external expertise support, you will have, again, to detail the tasks for which you need help on. So be as precise as possible. And again, please don't name anybody.
Thanks a lot, Alexi. Yeah, this is very important, to precise it and clarify it. And hopefully this answered your question, Peter. And this is not the case, actually, a little spoiler. The next video with Ségolène will be zooming in the external expertise and services cost category. So hopefully, there will be more answers there in case our answer was not clarifying all your doubts. There is one last question, and then I think maybe we can launch the video like this. You will also have some time to think about it, process all the information we're giving you, and like this you will be able to come up with some more questions. So we can maybe take this one and then we launch the video. So one of our participants is asking, what can we do if the partner estimates staff cost too high or too low? Is there a minimum wage list to compare?
We don't have a minimum wage list to compare. One piece of advice we can give you if you're a lead applicant, and when you receive draft budgets from your partners, in particular for staff cost, where you might maybe not be easily aware of the level of cost in that particular country or region, and if you're not sure about how many people are involved, would be to really get back to the partners and ask them to explain in more detail, okay, how many people are included in your estimation, what are their role, what are their tasks, to better understand actually how this amount that they are suggesting to you has been prepared, and see if it was overestimated, underestimated. So this would be maybe a way for you to better estimate their proposals and see, okay, how many people are behind, is it justified, are the tasks clear, the percentage seems reasonable, and so this type of questions that you could ask yourself and see with more details. I hope it's helpful. Otherwise, don't hesitate to ask a follow-up question on that.
And we are all caught up with the questions on staff cost. So I think, we can move on to the next video where Ségolène will zoom in the external expertise and services cost category. So see you later for some more question and answer.
Hello, my name is Ségolène, and I'm going to present the different types of cost under the external expertise and services cost category. When planning your external expertise and services cost, you will have to go in section F.2 of the application form, and you will have to select in a drop-down menu the adequate type of cost for each expenditure. So I will go one by one for each type of cost. The first one is for exchange of experience, the meetings. So it corresponds to all the costs for organizing the meetings, the local stakeholders meeting, but also the partners meetings. It can be for catering or for room rental, for example. So for this type of cost, the description box will be pre-filled, so there's nothing more to indicate. You just need to make sure that the costs that are applied are linked to the project activities planned in the work plan. Then the second type of cost is exchange of experience, travel and accommodation for external bodies. So this type of cost is used for travel costs for externals, so it can be for associated policy authorities or, for example, for stakeholders. So when estimating this type of cost, please be as realistic as possible. Then the next type of cost is exchange of experience, external support. And it can be used for support coming from external companies or consultants to implement the project activities. So the description box will be editable, and you will have to provide more information on the type of support provided and on which output or activity it is related to. Please be as precise as possible in the description box. The next type of cost is pilot action. It refers to the cost for external providers to implement the project activities related to pilot action. So the description box will be editable, so you will have to provide more information on the type of support needed and on the link with the pilot activities. So now for communication, there are two different types of cost. The first one is communication events. So it refers to all the costs for the organization of local dissemination events or interregional events, and the description box will be pre-filled. So the other type of cost for communication is communication materials, and here you will have to provide more information in the description box on which materials you plan. And finally, there are two different types of cost also for management. The first one is management external support, and it refers to all the costs for external project cooperation or financial communication management. And the description box will be pre-filled. So you just have to have in mind, for example, the number of working hours or the daily or hourly fee of the external support. Then for management verification of expenditure, the costs concern the cost for external controllers to verify the eligibility of expenditure. For this, you have to take into consideration that there will be 8 reports to control and to certify. So now you know everything about the different types of cost and which one you should select in external expertise and services cost category. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to read also our program manual.
Welcome back. This was the last video for today. It was a short one, but hopefully very insightful about the external expertise and services cost category. And Ségolène mentioned during all those videos the importance of the program manual. She was making several references of the program manual, so I think this is also a good moment to tell you that we do have a program manual and we are not afraid of using it. But not jokes aside, it's a great document, maybe not a great reading before going to sleep, nor to relax on the couch. Who knows? And but the recommendation is to always consult the program manual whenever you have a doubt, because the answers to many questions, you may find them actually there. So do not hesitate to use it. This last video, I think, gave you inspiration to post some more questions. So maybe we can go back on the Slido. And I think that there is a question by David, who is asking, the preparation costs are provided upon approval. Can we expect the money to be paid in 2024 or rather in 2025? This is relevant for internal budget planning.
Okay, so it's a very good question, David. Preparation costs are paid together with the first progress report. So when your project is approved, you will start implementing the activities and you will report on the activities and costs you sustained regularly every 6 months. I mean, you have to cover 6 months of activities for each progress report. So in your case, we don't expect the first progress report to be approved before at the best end of 2025. So yes, the program does not pre-finance, so you will receive the preparation cost together with the other costs in your first progress report as a lump sum.
Thanks a lot, Alexi. And then we have a question by Susano, who is asking something about the travel cost. So relating to travel cost, which is a flat rate, we must know exactly the number of staff members traveling, or we can decide the number of staff traveling during the implementation. Yeah, I think this is a relevant question about budget planning and how to plan their travels depending on the flat rate. So yeah, can you tell something more about it?
Sure, you can decide the number of people traveling during the implementation. It will depend maybe on like meeting by meeting, like depending on how many people you need to involve. So yeah, there is no problem to think about the number of people during the implementation. You don't have to decide on that before it actually starts, before the project starts.
All right, so I do not see further questions right now on Slido, so maybe we can take a few seconds more just if there is anyone that is a bit uncertain whether to drop a last question, and Hannah is actually sharing the link to the Slido in order for you to drop any other question. And we will keep an eye on Slido, so do not worry, like even if you post it right now and we don't see it live, we will get back to you in writing with Ilaria and ourselves. But yes, unless some other questions are, okay, there is one last, so maybe, yeah, well, let's proceed. So another participant is asking, is it possible to include in the external expertise and services the travel costs of external experts other than associated policy authority and stakeholders? Meaning the staff cost of the company appointed for external services. This is an interesting one, and I think it's very relevant for the last two videos.
It's a very good question because it will allow me to specify indeed this important point. So travel costs for your staff are reported, are covered by the flat rate, but travel costs for external people, so not belonging to your organization, such as stakeholders that you're inviting to the meetings, or also experts like people working and helping you, like the external company taking care of, I don't know, the financial management or helping you with the activities, then their travel cost should be covered by the external and expertise and services cost category. So they are reported on a real cost basis.
Thanks a lot. I think this addressed the question. We can also say, like, as it was mentioned also by Ségolène in the video, that there is a specific type of cost under the external expertise and services cost category that is dedicated to stakeholder travel and travel for other external bodies such as the golden stakeholder, the associated policy authority, and pretty much like those organizations also the travel costs for external experts have to be budgeted and then reported later on under external expertise and services. Then there is Carolina who is asking, please clarify for me if it is possible to budget the cost of a project audit. Is one such audit during the whole project enough?
So you have to plan for the regular control costs. Depending on which country you are from and if the system in your country is free of charge or not. Then if by audit you refer to on-the-spot checks by your controller, this you can check if this is still mandatory on the website of the program in the In My Country page, where you would also have and find information on that topic. And if yes, if this is still mandatory and if this is not free of charge, then you would plan cost for one such on-the-spot check. I hope it's clear.
Thanks a lot, Alexi, for clarifying this. I don't know, like if Carolina was maybe also referring like to the second level audit that are carried out by the program, but on that we can say that like, yeah, those audits are part of the audit campaign that is carried out by the program. So like at least for those, you don't have to plan any cost. I think like, yeah, with this we have probably answered this question. And if not, do not hesitate to type again and yeah, specify your question further. Okay, so I think unless like, yeah, some more last minute question pops up, maybe yeah, with the closure of this last question and answer session, it's also time to ask us to evaluate this webinar. So the communication colleagues should soon be launching a poll on Zoom. It should appear as a pop-up window on the screen. It just appeared on mine, so I guess it also appeared on yours. And you can give us a score and tell us if we did well enough or if we can still improve our work. And believe me, this is very important because we can actually improve our webinar starting from the very one of tomorrow. Because tomorrow we will have our last webinar of this series. That is the one on project communication. And so we can actually, how to say, take on board all your feedback and suggestion already starting from tomorrow. And while you are giving us a score, actually, this gives me the opportunity also to wrap up with the online tools that we provide to project applicants to help you developing a successful project proposal. They're all available online on our website in the section Look for Funding. And the first one is the self-assessment tool, where you can check whether your project idea is relevant for Interreg Europe program. And yeah, basically it's a tool that guides you through some questions and so on, and then you can get a feedback whether it's relevant or not. Then you can get inspiration because there is a whole area on our website where basically you can see all the project ideas posted already by some other members of the community, or if you don't find any project ideas that is interesting for your institution, for your organization, then you can post your own project idea. And by means of this tool, you can find some partners, which leads me to the other tool that is actually finding some partners. So either you share your project idea and you try to attract partners, or you can click on this tool and you can do a partner search. You can filter by type of organization, country, or topic of interest, and then you can basically through this tool find the perfect organization for your project and invite them to join. And then we have the tool to ask for feedback. You can submit your project idea when it's already a bit at the more advanced stage. You can actually ask us for a feedback, and you can specify whether you would like us to reply in writing or through a call. And once we have analyzed your project idea, then we will get back to you with some feedback to fine-tune your project proposal. And last but not least, the last button is about apply for the call. This doesn't say much, but actually under this button, there is like many important documents. Last but not least, I would say the terms of reference. It's a legal document, but it's also a very informative document. So it might sound banal, but definitely give a good read also to the terms of reference of the call, because like it's really important and informative. On top of all those online tools, we are organizing events to support you in the development of a successful project proposal. So there has been the lead applicant webinar series, and we will be closing it tomorrow with the project communication webinar. And then there is all the upcoming online question and answer session, where basically we will address all your questions live, and they will be exclusively dedicated to answer your questions live, and they're approximately organized every other Friday. So we hope to see you as as active as you were today in this webinar, also in the webinar tomorrow, which is definitely a must for communication manager, but it's interesting for anyone involved in the preparation of a project proposal. And unless I'm forgetting something, Alexi, I think it's time to wrap up. So I have nothing else left to do than giving you a big thank you for answering all of the questions live on the screen, for then thanking Ilaria for doing the same in writing and helping us moderating the Slido. And a big thank also to our colleagues from the communication team who help us running all the webinar with the different tools involved. And last but not least, big thank you to all of you for attending so numerous in this webinar today, for showing interest in our program and asking us your questions in order to get to know more about the preparation of the budget. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and yeah, we look forward to receiving your project proposal with a great budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And have a
Have
nice
a nice
day.
day. Bye.
Merci.